What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, guys. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to join me on this day. Sorry it's a little later than normal, but you know how the world works. Sometimes in life it happens. But let's start off with some good news as Mensa Tamstock gets gold for women in wrestling, and her interview gets me so fired up, and I hope it gets you fired up. She's so patriotic. I don't care how many times I hear it. I want to listen to it again. Let's listen.
Of course I surprise myself. It's by the grace of God I'm able to even move my feet. Like, I just leave it in his hands, and I pray that all the practice, that the hell that my freaking coaches put me through pays off. And every single time it does. And
She's so awesome.
And better. And it's so weird that there is no cap to the limit that
no cap, baby.
And I'm excited to see what I have next.
She gets me so fired up.
That American flag around your shoulders looks pretty good. How does that feel to represent your country like this?
It feels amazing.
So refreshing.
I love representing the U.S.
So refreshing to hear that.
I love it, and I'm so happy I get
freaking
to
love living there.
USA.
She's amazing. I wish more athletes were like that. I would think that they would be celebrated even more if they were actually talking like that. You know, it's amazing some of these people that say that like they just do nothing but talk smack about America as if America isn't the greatest, the hope of the world, isn't the greatest country of the world. I haven't traveled outside of the world, but I watch enough and I read enough to know what other countries' politics are like, and we have the best. Even in our darkest times, it's usually the beacon of hope for the other nations. We're usually the whatever, we're getting through things together, and it's just awesome to hear an athlete come out and speak like this because it makes you want to watch the Olympics more, and it makes you want to cheer on our athletes as opposed to the athletes who just do nothing but talk crap about the country they represent. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But let's get into some of the news. Governor freaking Cuomo. All the Cuomo sexuals are in the basement. They're hiding like Chris Cuomo. They're not coming out. They're not checking in on their multiple houses across the world. Sexual harassment probe for Governor Cuomo as he does a little rebuttal saying, hey, this is who I am. I've always been touchy-feely, kissy, and yes, we work late hours and stuff like that, so just accept me for who I am. It's unbelievable. As he, even at the end of his rebuttal statement of this massive probe that has very documented things, it's not just one woman, it's multiple accounts, which even if multiple accounts makes it more believable, because then even if 9 women come out and only 2 of them are not lying, that's still 2 accounts. So it makes you believe this even more. But he pushed back and saying, this is who I am, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I've always been an advocate. And not only that, he pushed back on some of these women saying things like, this takes away from the women who actually experience sexual abuse. So Governor Cuomo is allowed to just forcefully kiss you, hug you, touch you inappropriately, but it takes away from the real sexual. What is sexual abuse again? It's unbelievable, the double standard that's being taken place, but that's okay. Even Biden came out against him, breaking some news, but let's get into. So the independent investigation concluded that Governor Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women. James said on Tuesday, Cuomo, the AG, added, engaged in unwanted and inappropriate groping, kissing, hugging, and comments that accusers call deeply humiliating, uncomfortable, offensive, or inappropriate. The probe included interviews with 179 women who came in contact with Andrew Cuomo between 2013 and 2020, and around 70,000 pieces of evidence. 179 women. The investigation, she added, painted a deeply disturbing yet clear picture of systematic, I love that word, problems in Cuomo's office. 179 women. And Cuomo has the audacity to say that, but nothing like digging up old tweets like this one. Nancy Pelosi putting out in May 11, 2015, too many women are sexually assaulted while in college. Andrew Cuomo joined the discussion why enough is enough. Oh, you gotta love people digging up old tweets, and I'm not for it, but I'm also for it. I don't really know. It's like the tactic when they're using this tactic. I guess you could just use it on themselves, and then it creates a double standard, and then it creates a never-ending process, and we'll never get over it. So this is good. So everyone delete your tweets that you don't want out in the public. But Biden comes out and calls Cuomo to resign after sexual harassment probe, which honestly I would never have guessed that would have happened. But he's senile, so he's doing stuff. But here's Joe Biden speaking out against what, as they call Cuomo, the gold standard of COVID-19, killing all the grandmas. That's the gold standard. But here's
First,
Biden.
I'd like to start with the news of the day. Given back in March, you said that if the investigation confirmed the allegations against Governor Cuomo, then he should resign. So will you now call on him to resign, given the investigator said the 11 women were credible?
I stand by that statement.
Are you now calling on him to resign?
Yes.
And if he doesn't resign, do you believe he should be impeached and removed from office?
Let's take one thing at a time here. I think he should resign. I understand that the state legislature may decide to impeach. I don't know that for a fact. I've not read all that data.
And he's using a photo of you embracing him in his self-defense to say that these are commonplace kind of embraces that he made and the allegations against him. Do you condone that?
Look, I'm not going to fly-spec this. I am sure there are some embraces that were totally innocent. But apparently the Attorney General decided there were things that weren't.
Apparently, I guess, well, that just sucks for Cuomo and the Cuomo sexuals as more allegations are coming out. Also, his brother getting in trouble. Should his brother be fired too is the question everyone's asking. I don't know your thoughts on all this, but I think Cuomo has always been a terrible human being. And the fact that the media always fawned over him was always laughable, because it's very typical, though, isn't it? The media just chooses people, and they choose who their victors are, and they put them on the pedestal, and you never want to meet your idols in life because they turn out to be, well, terrible human beings. And that is turning out more and more as Cuomo. But Cuomo's going to fight this. Make no mistake. Cuomo is not backing down. His video today was very obvious that he is not done, and he is not going to resign. And he's going to fight this tooth and nail, and he's going to drag it out as long as possible because he believes he's innocent. I don't know what you believe, but the fact that there's 179 accounts, yes, some of them might be over the top and just people that should have said something, but 179, even if there's 10 accounts in there, that's unbelievable. Even at one account is enough for someone to leave. I am speechless at this moment, but let's get into even more news of COVID-19 because they're ramping up COVID-19 and because, well, the elections are coming up and you got to have a way to do mail-in ballots. You can't have people coming in to vote because how are we going to fortify that election? But President Biden came out today before the comments on Cuomo about COVID-19, and he specifically mentioned 2 states that are having problems and that need help. And I bet you can only guess what 2 states he goes for. Is it New York and California? No.
The escalation of cases is particularly concentrated in states with low vaccination rates.
Here we go.
Just 2 states.
2
Florida
states.
and Texas.
Oh, Florida and Texas, the motherlands. I mean, I put Florida on top and then Texas a big number 2.
Account for 1/3 of all new COVID-19 cases in the entire country. Just 2 states. Look, we need leadership from everyone.
Cases thing is one thing in hand. I've been saying this since the beginning. Cases are going to happen. It's a freaking virus. It's going to happen. I know you're not allowed to say that kind of stuff, and it was like you get banned over saying these silly things. That cases are going to happen. It's a virus. A virus goes around. The thing that we have to focus on, as always, is hospitalizations and more. And the number one factor is death. Sweden is not having an uptick right now, even though they've never locked down and they've always been the case. I just flew in from Texas, and I'm guessing, and I'm just throwing this out here, the cases maybe are upticking because it's so hot in those 2 states right now that people are staying inside and getting close together and rubbing their hands together. This virus isn't going away. I know there's like this weird push by Democrats to think that we're going to get this virus down to zero. We still have the flu, and people still die from the flu. Lots of people. Do we still have the flu? Not sure. All right, and then we get into the NIH director, Francis Collins, asking for parents to mask around their children?
It's clear that this variant is capable of causing serious illness in children. You have heard those stories coming out of Louisiana pediatric ICUs where there are kids as young as a few months old who are sick from this. That is rare. Certainly younger people are less likely to fall ill. But anybody who tries to tell you, you don't have to worry about it if you're a young, healthy person, there's many counterexamples all around us now. So, yeah, you do need to think about it. And that's the reason why the recommendations are for kids under 12 that they avoid being in places where they might get infected, which means recommendations of mask wearing in schools, and that at home, parents of unvaccinated kids should be thoughtful about this. And the recommendation is to wear masks there as well.
Let me just follow.
Yeah. Parents with unvaccinated children, you need to mask up around your children. And I saw in Australia also that maybe they should not only mask up. I saw a headline the other day saying that maybe they should social distance in home. What? Germany now is preparing for a new lockdown as well. The BILD has obtained internal documents that even proposes restrictions that would apply only to unvaccinated citizens. As New York today as well, Bill de Blasio came out today and said that unvaccinated people will not get the key to the city. That's right. They're not calling it a vaccine passport in New York City because why? People have already heard that word before and they are triggered by that word, as they should be. They're calling it a New York City. New York City's key to the city. You're allowed to go to gyms. You're allowed to go to restaurants if you're vaccinated. They're dividing the country because it's easier. It's harder to do the class system. It's harder to do the critical race theory. People heard about that. But we can categorize people by vaccinated and unvaccinated. That's much easier. And we can put them in their categories. I think you're going to see more division than ever before and more pressure to get the vaccine than ever before. If you're not vaccinated, then you're going to feel that pressure more than ever as more companies are coming out and forcing their employees to be vaccinated. And also just areas and concert venues and stuff like that. As you saw things like this story. The Offspring, the old punk band Offspring, fires drummer for refusing to take COVID vaccine due to his pre-existing conditions, which he documented thoroughly on his Twitter about how he had a conversation with his primary care doctor, and his bandmates, who I guess are smarter and have more medical experience than his primary care doctor, decided that he needs to leave the band. What? Art is dead. Art is about big pharma now and about crushing your enemies. Totalitarianism art. Yay! I can't wait to see this next generation's new music. Pfizer is okay. Moderna is away. Johnson & Johnson will make you finish it. I don't know. I just... The Offspring. Decently hardcore rock. I wouldn't say the hardest in the world. They're getting rid of their drummer because he's not vaccinated. He can be social distance and play the drums in the back, but it's all about optics these days. It's not about anything else. This is coming from Germany. Let's go back to the story. Not for those who have not been vaccinated, currently 32 million in Germany. It could be even harder and under certain conditions that they should not get anywhere. Not even with a negative test. So you could be not COVID positive at all. You could be wearing a mask, all of that stuff. You're still not allowed to go out and do these things. Because above is a certain incidence in hospital occupancy, unvaccinated citizens should no longer be able to go to restaurants, for example. Non-vaccinated people from participating in events and catering trade. This is called the 3G rule, which enables vaccinated, recovered, and tested people to participate in social life. That's right. Then to become the 2G rule, which means only vaccinated and convalescent have access. Unvaccinated people are excluded even with a test. This is insane. It's no longer science anymore. It's the science. It's the way, the truth, the life, the science. It's dogma. You're not allowed to question anything. If you question things, look at Sky News in Australia. They were taken off of YouTube for questioning the science, the way, the truth, the life. This is the science. I know Biden thinks he's come here to heal the lands and make things better than what they were before, but I just see things ramping up more than ever. Some of my liberal friends are clapping this and enjoying this move towards separation and division like never before. And they say, well, just take the vaccine then. Well, what if you're like the Offspring drummer who's talked to their doctor? Like, I've talked to women who are trying to get pregnant right now, and their doctors recommend them not to take the vaccine yet because it's not FDA approved. It's under emergency use, FDA use. But their primary care doctors say that if you're trying to get pregnant, it might not be a good idea. And that's what their primary care doctors say. I'm not trying to push misinformation. I'm not trying to push. I know you're only allowed to say these are 100% safe and nothing ever happens. And even if you have symptoms over it, that's in your head. It's a psychotic thing. You need to go get checked out mentally. You're not allowed to say anything. It's very aggressive, the tactics they're using for people that are actually having problems, people that are actually have symptoms or have things that they know in their history, their medical history, that maybe this isn't a good vaccine for them yet because they don't have enough information on it. I'm so sick and tired of this argument of the science. If you guys would just be honest and open, allowed people to question this stuff, broke down data, if you want people to take it who aren't taking it, publish data that shows some of the negative side effects, how it's affecting people in certain age groups. What are the people that should take it? Is it the morbidly obese? Because they seem like the ones that are dying from COVID. Is it the elderly in the old age group? Is it race? Is it blood type? Break it down for us. Is it you eat too much pork and maybe you shouldn't? The more data human beings have, the more they can think for themselves and decide whether to take it or not. You're seeing an uptick on people taking the vaccinations because they're weighing their risk, because they're human beings, they're adults. They're seeing what's going on in the world and they're deciding whether to take it or not. I don't know if you've taken it. I don't know if I've taken it. I've always said, if I get the vaccine, I am literally telling no one because I don't care. I'm not even telling my mom. I don't care. It's such a political, weird thing that people want to class. They want to class people with. You have the unvaccinated and the vaccinated. We're going to spread you apart. And I don't care to tell people. I don't want to be in a category because it's like those liberals that didn't want to take their masks off because they didn't want to be confused with a Trump supporter. This is all political. This is all for game. And that's why people aren't taking the vaccine. It has nothing to do with Trump said to take the vaccine. Lots of people, I haven't heard anyone say not to besides Alex Jones. I've literally not heard anyone in my life say don't do it besides him. So there's no underground secret mission of people and it's just one political party. No, it's people looking at the history American history, and that's why you see a really low amount of African Americans taking the vaccine because America has a history of pushing down vaccines on a particular race and then turning out giving people a sickness later in life. We have that history as a country. It's a terrible stain on our history, but it's part of what you have done. You've created this monster. You've created a monster of people not wanting to get vaccinated because you have flip-flopped. You have changed rules. You have gone back and forth. You have made it political. And not only that, people are reading. People are opening their eyes. People are sick of your crap. This is a virus. It's not going away. This is something we're going to have to learn to live with, and we're being spread apart more than ever. And I don't see it as a good thing. There's religious things. There's medical doctors that you've talked to your primary care physician, and they maybe not have recommended it for you because of A, B, and C. Those people are being cast to the side as if they're idiots. As Biden said, I question your intelligence if you don't take the vaccine. Well, maybe those intelligent people had a conversation with, a doctor, and that doctor recommended them not to do it because of this, and this reason. Oh my God, you're spreading misinformation. People are adults. Let people be adults. And why don't you guys treat us like adults? Why don't you tell us the actual information? As you're seeing Australia right now, there's helicopters flying around with kids playing basketball, telling them to go home. Germany is preparing for a new lockdown. I saw a video of policemen just punching a child in the freaking face. I don't back that blue. Do you? I am honestly nervous and praying that we somehow heal and grow up and actually produce information and are actually honest with people, as opposed to, I don't know, spreading misinformation, saying things like only these 2 states are having huge upticks. It's Florida and Texas. Also, even if Texas is, I wonder why. I wonder why Texas has a major uptick. I don't know. Could it be because of all the illegals crossing the border? No. Governor Abbott, why don't you lock down your border instead of just letting it happen? Ay, ¿qué pasó? Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into Derek O'Shea Show. It means so much to me. But that's some of the news of the day. The Cuomo-sexuals are hiding. They're going in their basements like Chris Cuomo at the beginning of the pandemic. Remember when he had COVID? And then and he might have COVID, but he also was out and about doing a bunch of stuff. So, excuse me. And also, Obama telling people to get vaccinated, saying that we're in a pandemic, having a 700 birthday party. Also, everyone's saying we're in this huge Delta variant. We all need to lock down, wear a mask again while we have the Olympics going on. Also, claiming that Texas and Florida is a huge problem, at the same time allowing illegals just to cross the border because they care more about an election than they do about COVID. Nothing makes sense anymore, and that's okay. Know where your faith is. Know where your foundations are, because do not rely on the government do not rely on the government, political parties, or news agencies to provide you with hope, to provide you with a foundation and strength to endure the day, because they will fail you in the end, even myself. Have a fantastic day. As always, I'll see you on the next episode of The Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate you guys so much. I do. I really do appreciate you. Tuesday. You got to love a Tuesday. Have a great day. I'll see you on the next episode of The Derek O'Shea Show.